What's up, Zach here, and this week I actually have got a New Balance double header. I've already done the P350. This here is the all-new New Balance P400. I'm actually gonna release this video first, even though I've already reviewed the P350 about 2 hours ago. Went and saw GOAT. Pretty good, actually. It was for a kids movie. It was really good. And then came back, and now I'm going to do these ones. It's weird, like now I know all the stats and everything on the P350 doing the P400. Make sure you subscribe because tomorrow, 9 a.m. sharp Eastern Standard Time, the P350 will be on this channel. We're gonna do this one first. So the P400, your eyes don't deceive you. It looks exactly like the Fresh Foam BB V2 and V3. Just looks very similar kind of in that lineage, and that's kind of where it picks up. Now, we don't have a two-way successor here. I got a comment asking like if this was the next two-way. No, not in any way, shape, or form. This is a BB for sure in terms of lineage. So with that being said, with that in mind, let's get into the uppers. Now, number one, it does have an Achilles pad, which is really nice, and it does have a runner's knot, which is really nice, actually reinforced runner's knot, which is really nice. Now, the one thing is the tongue is, it's biased right toward the medial side, right? So it rises up here in the medial side, has a little groove. And a lot of companies right now seem to be making these variable height tongues, these unbalanced tongues where you have more height on one side for more coverage. I gotta say, in most cases, it's just gonna alienate people, right? The tongue is not the place to experiment. Well, let's just put that out there. It's me. I didn't have any bother with it really whatsoever, but I know some people are going to. It is nice and thick. A lot of padding all the way down, so lace irritation is big fat goose egg. I did though have irritation on the medial side, right where the synthetic leather and the padding meet, like kind of right where the two most proximal eyelets were. I really actually did have a lot of irritation there until I broke them in. And I was kind of doing like some of these jobs here just to get it broken in. Once I did, it was fine. If you just put some moleskin right there, it's fine. But the reason for that is there is some really, really strong fused underlayment underneath of this meshing over top of it. Now it looks like it's a whole body of mesh, right? There's the synthetic leather, a whole body of mesh, and then, the fused underlays, not really overlays, but underlays. Thing is, look at on the breathability test, fog's not getting that anywhere. I mean, the gusset on this is really large. It comes up tall. There's no breathing through that. The tongue is super thick. That padding goes all the way into the forefoot. There's nowhere for anything to get out. So in terms of heat and moisture trapping, these are gonna be something special. You're gonna be cooking with the special sauce with these ones. Let's put it that way. Like I said, heel slippage is mild. If you do the runner's knot, it's really none. But with the runner's knot, it does increase that irritation for me along the medial side. Some people have it on the lateral side. Probably some people have it around the tongue. So I would just go with the regular eyelet or just use the back eyelet. I really didn't have a problem with that. There is a lot of padding around the heel count. As you can see, you got one layer here and then one layer here. Like you got the one layer in the back that goes all the way around, then you got the Achilles pad. So there's enough padding back there. It's just where it counts in some areas. It just needs broken in. Like I said, not a deal breaker. It's just not as out of the box comfortable as some of the other BBs, much more like a stiff product to start off with. But I think the main thing about the uppers on these is that you're just gonna pay in terms of heat and moisture trapping. The other thing I wanna make mention of in the uppers is this out here is like rubber. Like this is actually pretty stiff up here. I mean, it's flexible, you're right, but it's chunky. On the medial side, this is just foam, right? This is just carrier foam, so it's not nearly as stiff as the outside. Now, I'm not sure if it's meant to be that or if the outside just had more coating, right? Because, we put coating on foam to make it more durable, especially like in sandals, like in the Xenon Zen. You can check those out down below. But it definitely felt a little softer here on the medial side. So a little bit, but also that would make sense for a little bit more lateral containment because this is just foam here too. So yeah, I think the word in the uppers is needs broken in, gonna trap heat and moisture. I'll be getting into the midsole teardown. This is a big old honking slab of Fresh Foam X, and you got the carrier around it. You do get a bottom loaded shank. This is a nylon composite shank. It is actually really flexible. I'm used to seeing, like, because when we make nylon composite orthotics, that's what I make like most of my custom orthotics out of these days, because it's lighter and stronger than anything. Like it's as light and low profile as carbon fiber, but it has the moldability of polypropylene. So it's really nice. And these ones, these actually are just a little bit, like this is This is a little bit flexible. I mean, it's fine because it's, you know, it's a decently big shank, but it's not as, like for a bottom loaded shank, I would have thought they would have made it a little bit more stout, especially when you look at the rear foot in these things, when we look at the fit section. It wasn't bad in terms of stability, but also this isn't months later with the shoe, so we're gonna take a look at that. In terms of the tensiometer, it does take 70 newtons to get this thing to 45 degrees. I think the majority of that is just this like rubberized foam carrier on the outside. When you look at it, it does take a minute. It does bend appropriately though, so that's good. I mean, you can't, well, actually I just did it. So I mean, actually you can crumble the shoe through that shank, so I wasn't able to do that before, but yeah, okay. So, that's not great. And then torsionally, yeah, it is moving a little bit. I mean, like I said, you do get a lot over here, but for a BB, you know, previous ones were a little bit more stout than this one. This is a little bit more flexible, which, you know, some people are gonna like that. You know, the feeling underfoot with all that Fresh Foam X is still the same feeling underfoot you're gonna get with the other BBs. It's fantastic. It feels amazing. There's a reason people ask me what my personal favorite foam is for tennis, basketball, and pickleball. I always say Fresh Foam X. I love it. I think it's the best feeling foam underfoot. This is no different. Uppers, a little bit less comfortable. Like I said, break-in, there, you know, you can do the break-in, but off the bat. In terms of the bounce height test, 36 centimeters in the rear foot, 37 in the forefoot. Fresh Foam X is starting to get a little bit, you know, a little more elastic. So that's, you know, I'm not surprised with that it's got a little bit more pep to it. There is a lot of it. So these are gonna feel a little bit more snappy underfoot than you're used to, but you're still gonna get the best shock absorption on the market too. So that is still the case. If you're gonna do a bottom loaded shank, right? Bottom shank, and you've got all that fresh foam on top of it, why not make it stout, right? It's gonna still be comfortable. This was a little bit of a disappointment for me just because of previous BBs, and now the P400 just seems like it's BB light, right? Or like the BB team, you know, especially for what's supposed to be like the flagship shoe. So yeah, still the same comfort underfoot, still the same great Fresh Foam X, just torsionally and in terms of stability, maybe a little bit of a downgrade from the other BBs. All right, getting into the outsole tread, basically the whole thing is just a wavy kind of mechanical herringbone. You do actually get some like legit herringbone around the periphery of it. I like that because a lot of shoes are casing it in solid rubber and this one is just cased in herringbone, which I think is fantastic. In terms of the grip test ramp, these didn't slip till 44 degrees. These things were tacky and it's interesting when you watch the P350 video, you'll kind of see too the comparison. It's interesting to see. And then, you know, put them in the dust bin and yeah, they do pick up quite a bit of dust because it's tacky rubber, right? And then wiping them down, it's actually really hard to wipe down. Thing is, they don't slip till 33 degrees. That is actually the best shoe we've done on the grip test ramp with the dustbin. I've said this in a few other videos, but I am weighting the shoes now because I'm doing the dust, introducing the third body. We need to increase the normal force of the shoe. When it's just the shoe and the grip test ramp, it doesn't matter. Force gravity, force friction, cancel each other out. But with the dust now introducing that third body, it does need a little bit of weight there. So that's why you see a weight in there. But yeah, I mean, there is a big delta there, but it's still pretty good, right? And especially for what the shoe looks like, it looks dusty, but it was like the old BB, like the Fresh Foam BB V2, where yeah, it would pick up dust and you get a little bit of give, but it was still like rock solid. This is very similar in terms of the rubber. In terms of the durability test on the belt sander though, that one was a little bit of a different story. This lost 0.7 grams on that, which is one of the worst shoes I've done. I think it might be second worst. It's kind of, yeah, it is not great. And you can kind of see it, it's really visible. Now this is thick rubber, it's chunky, you know, it's thick rubber, so you get a lot to lose and that's good. And I think if you keep them on indoor courts, it's okay, just like I said, because the rubber is so thick. But yeah, that was a pretty big loss for these. So in terms of, you know, some other previous New Balance shoes where the rubber was decently hard, you know, a little more durable, because New Balance does make super hard rubbers in their tennis line, right? They know how to make them. And previous, you know, a couple of the New Balances you could take outside, no problem. This one, I would say it's probably best to keep them on indoor courts. All right, but getting into the fit of the P400, this is another really interesting comparison to the P350 now that I know all the numbers on that one. So yeah, when you watch that, you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay, so number one, I'll go with the why first. This thing only has a heel width of 7.1 centimeters, which is like not wide at all. It looks wide, but the actual flat space you'll actually touch the ground with, this is all rolled, right? So this doesn't do anything for stability, but the actual flat space, the usable space, is only 7.1 centimeters. That is narrow. Number two, they have 5.7 centimeters of toe box height. These things have a ton of room in them, which I guess you would kind of expect. The in-flare in them is only 11 degrees. It's pretty mellow, which is nice. And then 28.7 centimeters in length. That's just pretty typical. 9.6 of metatarsal width for the D width, 9.6 centimeters of toe box width for the D width, and then a taper of only 34 degrees. Super mellow into the toe box. That toe box taper is just nice and mellow. Toes have a lot of room to spread out in there. So the nice thing about these is they come in a D width, they come in a 2E width. So just dealer's choice. If you're a narrow medium foot, go true to size. If you're a 2E, go true to size in a 2E. If you're a 4E, in these ones, I think you could try to break them in just true to size in a 2E. And then if you really want to, you can go up a half size, like you've got longer toes. It's a lot of shoe, it's heavy. I would just maybe try to break them in. The only problem with these New Balances is that they're unisex now. And so for women, you've got to go with either the D or the 2E. I did not see a C width. So I didn't see the women's width. So that's a little bit weird. Like why that's not the case. So hopefully we'll see more width choices, because man, that'd be nice too for more like narrow footed men too. Like for a wider footed woman, that's great, right? You just go standard in a D and that's great. But yeah, it's just a little bit weird to see if it's unisex sizing, then it should just be unisex sizing. You should have 3 widths for sure. So anyway, that's just me. Okay. Anyway, let's get into who these are good for, some snake bitten foot stuff. Flat, neutral, and high, yeah, all fine. Ankle sprainers, you know, this is a disappointment, but I would say they're okay. When they're new, this here, you know, this lateral stabilizer does hold the shoe pretty well. They're bottom heavy, so they're gonna feel pretty stable. It's just that, you know, all of a sudden you saw me be able to start crumpling the shoe. Remember, a mid or a high top, not gonna stop an ankle sprain. The forefoot, the flange is nice and wide and chunky, but like I said, the rear foot, so if you come down flat or forefoot, it's gonna be fine. But in the rear foot, I think you can get a little bit of, that's the laces, I think you can get a little bit of wobble on there. So I would say if you're not an ankle sprainer, they're okay. They do bias everted, so I mean, they sit 1 degree everted. With loading though, they go to 5. That just shows you how rolled that rear foot is and how that shank on the bottom is not stiff. So they do bias to the other side. They do bias everted. So it is going to be hard to roll them that way. That's why they get a orange check and not a red X, but still not, I mean, to me, not the best thing out there. In terms of plantar fasciitis, I think they're fine. In terms of Achilles tendonitis, yeah, I think they're fine. I think for some people, this Achilles tab might annoy like a Haglund's or something, but the actual tendonitis are fine. Forefoot pain, you know, I think there's so much foam in them. I think with an orthotic, I think you're just fine for that. Arch pain, yeah, I mean, I think they're fine while they're new, but I think just in general, get an orthotic in there. Big toe arthritis, get an orthotic in there. Knee, hip, and back pain, I think they're fine. But I mean, if you want to put an orthotic in, obviously it's going to make it better. And, you know, it's not like you can't fit one in there. I mean, look how much room you have in there for an orthotic. It's insane how much room you have in there for an orthotic. So yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. It's just, to me, I don't get it in terms of the New Balance line right now. And so underfoot, they're gonna feel like the BBs. You're gonna feel good. If you're not an ankle sprainer, you're gonna be fine. If you're someone that wants a little more flexibility out of the BB line, then you're gonna love them. I think then you're gonna say like, hey, this is a clear upgrade, right? Because you're getting a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more freedom in them. You know, once they break in, they're gonna feel a little more fluid than previous BB shoes. But if you bought the BBs, you were probably buying them for a certain reason, right? So that, I don't know. I'll be really interested to see if people really gravitate toward the 400s versus the BBV2s and the BBV3s or not. So I'm really curious as to what the community's thoughts are down below on these and just kind of the whole New Balance, new line in general. So let me know down below. If you want to check these out for yourself, if you want to buy a pair, check out the affiliate codes down below. Helps keep the lights on the channel. Check out the Xenon Zen slide down below. I got a discount code down below. Also got a discount code for the shoe customization ebook down below and orthotic customization ebook down below. And check out the Court Shoe Finder app. It's totally free. Find the best court shoe for you. And if you want to check out another just absolute behemoth of a shoe that just released, the Kobe 1 Protro, check that video out right here. And tomorrow, be ready for the P350. I'll see you in the next video.